Today I'm joined by CAS lecturer Dr. Marius Luedicke to discuss the differences between market orientation and culture-orientated marketing. So first of all, Marius, can you tell us a bit about market orientation?
Well, I think a good way of understanding market orientation is to think about the view of the consumer, the role of the company, and who wins in this kind of system. So it's the classic view is that the consumer is a person or a group of people who have a certain set of needs that a company then in turn would fulfill. Who wins is the person that understands these needs the best, caters to them really well, and then of course gets the greatest market share. So this consumer is a person who is kind of stable, who has certain needs, they are given. The person kind of accepts what the market is offering and decides on, plus, minus, do I want to accept this offer or not? But the best company is that kind of senses these needs, picks them up and transforms them into really good products.
And can you give us an example of that?
Yeah, think about, mobile industry in this sense. There's a new app that is created. So a app developer might think, oh, there's this need, people really want to communicate across platforms, etc. So then a company would create a product that is called WhatsApp, that you can use for communicating across different platforms. People like it, it's exactly what they need, and it spreads across the globe like crazy, 450 million users within just a few years. That's a classic example how to think market orientation, and a successful example of this.
So tell us about culture-orientated marketing.
If we take, let's say we take the same three markers, the customer, the company, and who's winning. The idea of a customer is someone who is creative, subversive, innovative, relational, and someone who's challenging these norms, who is developing new needs, who doesn't really maybe not know exactly what's coming next. A very cultural, personal kind of view, not so much a static set of needs, but a real kind of interactive, creative person. The company in this sense might no longer be the person that fulfills existing needs, but a company that Douglas Holt, for instance, calls a citizen artist. That is a company that is part of a network of people, that is contributing to culture, that is creating resources that people can play with. Someone who's offering things that help people to shape their culture. It's not just a functional product maybe, but something that is part of a larger network of relationships. And the company who's winning in this kind of system is that provides the most interesting contributions. Someone who provides something that people can play with, a new story, a fantastic ad that is then shared 5 million times by people because they like it so much and because they like the ideas, and then they play around with it and they modify it and then they post their own answers to these advertisements. So it's a very much more interactive view of companies dealing with consumers and convincing them and kind of playing with them.
And can you give us an example of that?
Yes, sure. Culture-oriented thinking can be used in many, many ways. One of them, for instance, is in advertising. And an example would be the Chrysler 200 introduction, the Super Bowl ad in 2013. That was a fantastic piece of advertising that had huge pull effects on the market. Consumers now started to buy this brand, 20% more, 89% more brand awareness. It was absolutely massive. And the reason was that the spot played with things that the American car industry wasn't very good at. They wanted to introduce a luxury car. And what they did was they contrasted the idea of European, French, Italian luxury, what you associate with ateliers, leather, refinement, handcraft, etc., to an American, a newly invented American culture of luxury, which is of steel, of fire, of toughness, of going through hell to create something really strong. This is a new idea of thinking about luxury. It made Americans really proud in the aftermath of the Detroit crisis. The auto industry was down, and now they invented a new idea, a self-concept for American consumers to understand we have our own way of luxury. That tapped at all sorts of cultural resources about the American identity, about consumers, about rugged individualism, about all sorts of ideas that we studied a few years back with a few colleagues in another car example. And this is one example on how cultural thinking can be implemented, in this case, in the advertising area.
Marius, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.